Following its April 2025 premiere, Alex Garland's Warfare faced a somewhat disappointing box office performance, but truthfully, this was to be expected after the director's 2024 success. Warfare is a war film based on the true experiences of Ray Mendoza, a U.S. Navy SEAL whose platoon had a grave encounter during the Iraq War in 2006. The film includes a star-studded ensemble cast including Will Poulter, Kit Connor, Joseph Quinn, Charles Melton, and Michael Gandolfini. It is the fifth feature film Garland has ever directed and the ninth he has written. In terms of critical reception, Warfare can be considered a success. On Rotten Tomatoes, the movie has matching 93% critic and audience scores, with reviewers praising its skillful, pared-back depictions of violence and the horrors of war. However, when it comes to the box office, the movie didn't fare quite as well. With a budget of $20 million, the movie has only grossed $17.8 million, preventing it from breaking even. Though there is still time for Warfare to rake in more money, the film may just have to accept its wins and its losses. How much Warfare has made at the box office compared to Civil War? Warfare will never catch up to Civil War financially. Warfare's box office becomes more disappointing when compared to that of Garland's previous movie, Civil War. Warfare's total box office earnings are $17.8 million, while Civil War earned $127 million. While it is true that Warfare has only been out for 2 weeks, Civil War's opening weekend gross was far better than Warfare's. In its debut weekend, Civil War made $25.7 million. Warfare only brought in $8.3 million. In this way, Warfare has started off on a much weaker foot than Civil War, and doesn't seem to be picking up enough momentum to meet its predecessor. What this means is that Warfare will probably not catch up to Civil War financially. Oftentimes, good reviews can help bring a movie more attention following its first weekend, but this won't be enough for Warfare. The movie has only grossed $17 million after its second weekend, while Civil War had already made $44 million at this point. Clearly, Warfare does not have the same power as Garland's previous release, despite having a smaller budget, a fairly star-studded cast, and an interesting premise. There are several elements at play that led to Civil War's success and Warfare's underwhelming follow-up. Civil War's box office was bolstered by great marketing and political commentary. How Warfare compares to Civil War's marketing and premise. Jesse Plemons wearing camouflage and holding a gun in Civil War. To get to the bottom of Civil War's success, it is imperative to look at what made it so intriguing in the first place. The main draw was its politically relevant premise. Following a group of journalists trying to make it to Washington, D.C. before rebels overtook the Capitol, Civil War was dystopic and felt frighteningly close to reality. It was framed as a horrifying peek into America's future, which made audiences invested in seeing the movie. Additionally, A24 provided plenty of marketing through thrilling trailers so that viewers would be aware of the film long before its release. Unfortunately, Warfare did not have the same advantages. Although the movie is also about war and the flaws of the American government/military, it lacks the widespread relatability of Civil War. Warfare is about soldiers and a real event that happened to them, whereas Civil War focuses more on regular people and their experiences with a crumbling government. It's easier to get pulled in by Civil War's fictional yet possible story than Warfare's singularly true story. On top of that, Warfare didn't get nearly as much advertising as Civil War did. Why Warfare has made so much less at the box office than Civil War. The controversy of war movies. Warfare characters are aiming and scouting for any enemies. Image via A24. Marketing and story definitely made a big impact on Warfare making less at the box office, but there are other small details that likely played a role as well. For example, Civil War boasted highly established stars like Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, and Kelly Spaney, who had just come off of playing Priscilla Presley in Priscilla. Meanwhile, Warfare's cast is full of talented actors, but they are more like rising stars rather than well-known A-list celebrities. Plus, Warfare had to compete with other films like The Amateur and Sinners, which definitely affected its box office numbers. Another issue that may have hurt Warfare is the divisiveness of war movies. Generally, war movies fall into one of two camps, glorifying or condemning war. Movies that are the former often get criticized for glossing over the atrocities of war, and using patriotism in a gross or unfair way. Warfare is definitely a film that condemns war, but based on marketing alone, audiences may not have recognized that. In this way, fewer viewers may have gone to see Warfare because they assumed it stood for a cause that they didn't agree with. Warfare not matching Civil War's box office isn't a problem. Garland will make up for this box office soon enough. Sam, Joseph Quinn, camping while looking at the window in Warfare. Image via A24. It is disappointing that Warfare didn't reach the same heights as Civil War, but it isn't that big of an issue. A24 likely put less money into marketing Warfare because it was never intended to be the big hit Civil War was. In fact, Civil War needed to recoup its $50 million budget, whereas Warfare's $20 million was far more doable. In the coming weeks, it will likely earn this budget back. Arguably, Warfare did its job by garnering strong reviews and making an impact on its viewers. Far from being a box office bomb, Warfare did just fine. Not to mention, Garland already has another hit lined up after Warfare, as he is the writer behind 2025's 28 Years Later. Considering the success of the original 2002 movie, and the fact that Garland is reuniting with director Danny Boyle and lead actor Cillian Murphy, there is little doubt that this movie is going to be a blockbuster. Any failings that Warfare might have had this spring will easily be washed away by the highly anticipated premiere of this iconic Alex Garland film.